Politicians feel as fast as golden safe.
I hope you liars burning fires.
What you've done to this place,
And I can't take no more of your
Alrighty, welcome to this week's GUNN Glasgow Underground News Network, live as always from, funnily enough, Glasgow. This week we've got Kev, as always. I put a wee shout out for the show earlier. Kev, I said that you were on a boat from Russia and you may be delayed, but thankfully Kev's here from the start.
Russian technology, mate, I'm here.
We've got Days, as always. We've got Martin and we've got JP, so we've got a full house as always. We've also got regular man of the show, Nick. And I believe he's going to come in the second hour. Dom, our other guest this evening, is going to come in 15 minutes' time, roughly, when we just give our outline what we're going to be covering tonight. I think Dom's just having his grub, basically, so he's going to be with us when he's fed and watered. So tonight, as I said, we'll get Nick in the second hour. You have to stay tuned for that, man. This is amazing stuff. This dude's been out staying in the middle of a field. He's not been protesting. I've been reliably informed he's been protecting out in Barton Moss and doing some great work up there with those guys. He's made it into a few. He's rose a lot of awareness. Been in a lot of what we would term mainstream media and getting the word out there that there's a lot of people protecting the public from the fracking. And he's got lots of stories that I'm looking forward to hearing myself. We've got Dom that's coming on. He's giving us a bit of an update on what we were talking about with him a few weeks ago. There's some more information on that. Information anybody that uses Facebook to a certain degree and is trying to get active, even if it is just being a keyboard warrior. Need to stay tuned for some of that information because there's somebody out there that's been doing a lot of, I don't know, let's see what everybody else thinks, man. I thought it was a bot at first. I've just before the show get shown that there's a YouTube channel floating about and stuff, so who knows what the hell's going on, but we'll try and get to the bottom of that with Dom and the march on March the 15th to Parliament by groups that could be said that used to be affiliated with the EDL and so on and so forth. They're calling themselves now the English Volunteer Force or something along those lines. I'll get the details when we're chatting about it later. But there's only a few. I only know the EDL, the SDL and EDF, as I've said lots of times, so hopefully Dom will be able to fill us in a lot of the information about that as well. And Dom, I think that's an interesting subject to see if we can touch on with Dom as well, the people's voice and what people think of it. It's been out there for a while now. I mean, I personally think it's there for people who want it. I think if you get value from it and they ask you to donate and you want to donate, nobody's putting a gun to your head, fair enough.
Well said, Kip. That's about the fairest thing I've heard said on that subject in a long time. Instead of people damning others for buying into it or going against it, like you say, let people choose. There's something for everyone on there. Well said, man.
It's like I'm not going to condemn it. I need to say, I'm going to be negative about it, right? But I'm not there to bash David Icke or any people on there because, I'll give you my fair and balanced judgment later on if we can touch on that. But what interested me with Dom's idea was trying to create, and this is the word that I want to get straight and what I was happy to go along with. I wanted to see somebody had an idea about creating a people's voice, sort of an idea with no money. The only thing people could donate would be time, effort and skills, so on and so forth. So being that I've got no money, that's something that I can contribute towards and see what we could. All we could do is try and see what we could create with no money, no donations, And if nothing gets created, nobody's lost anything apart from a bit of time and effort, and we're all back to where we started, still trying to work for a better place. If something comes of it, great. I don't. Me personally, I don't want to bring in David Icke bash and so on and so forth. I mean, yes, be critical about David Icke, and you can state facts that people disagree with and stuff. I don't like to divide and conquer that way. I like to, well, people have problem with people selling books and being a capitalist when it comes to this. Other people don't. My thing is, use the information for your own means, man.
Just makes me giggle, Kip, sometimes that they're on about David Icke and the fact you're having to give money and everything else. And I bet you, I obviously don't know the full figures, but I bet you a fair percentage of these people pay money to an organisation like Sky. And look what you're getting in return for that. And you don't hear them moaning about the Sky prices all the time. You don't see them out in the net picking up on every single detail about Sky and their business plan. But David Icke and somebody, whether he's doing it for good or for himself, do you know what I mean, though, Kip? They'll quite happily attack that one individual, but yet that behemoth of a company, every month, money out their bank, not a problem.
Well, let me just get this straight off my chest then and say like what I think. I think it's there for people who want it. When I first heard about it, it was like, wow, it's going to be brilliant, self-funding and stuff. What have I seen that it's delivered? To me, it's delivered much of the content that was getting delivered before it for free, maybe at lower quality on YouTube. So for me, it's not been a giant leap forward that it might be at some point, with a bit of luck, that I was hoping it would be. Or for me, it's just another YouTube channel, and because the content, I mean, I love Ken O'Keefe, right? Now, a lot of people out there, I'm open to your opinions that the guy is like part of the bad ones and stuff, right? I'm open to your opinions. Right now, I take the information he puts out and I take stuff away from the information of Ken O'Keefe. And I love his content, so I've seen his stuff on the People's Voice, and I'm glad it's there. My argument, if you want, is it was there before as well. Maybe in time he'll be able to get more content out, and in time I might change my opinion and go kudos to the People's Voice.
The thing I've noticed about it, Kip, is for it being the People's Voice, and when he was talking about it on his funding websites and all that, sounded ideal, didn't it? It would give an opportunity, a platform to guys like us, and even the listeners with their YouTube channels, all that kind of thing would be broadcast as well, okay? But I'm yet to see much YouTube material. I'm yet to see much from the people. It just seems to be the select group's voice. And I'm just starting to look at it with a bit of a questioning head on, shall we say. Like you, Kip, it's for people to choose. They can take it or leave it. I was hoping it would be something better than what it turned out to be. Days, I know that you were actually down at Camden, I believe it was, when they were setting up the People's Voice. Do you want to give the listeners a wee taste of your experience down there in the build-up to the launch?
How you doing, Kev? Hope you can hear me okay.
Doing brilliant, Days. I keep on forgetting to say hello to you, man, every week when I introduce you, but there you go.
Alright, no problem, mate. I'm down to Camden, and there was a big hall. David gave a speech about the future of the project. There was, say, about 150 people there. It was split into 3 different groups. Basically determine on why you went down there, if you went down there as an artist or someone that wanted to work behind the camera, you know. But I went to all three different tables because I felt as if I'd something else for the 3 of them, you know. So then we just had it was sandwiches, you know. People talk about this lavish expenditure and that. It was just, well, all I saw was just a couple of sandwiches and that, you know, at lunchtime that day anyway. Not a lot to say after that, you know. It was just thanks very much for your time and then back up the road.
So not much feedback at all, really, Days, now?
Well, there was for myself personally. I don't know how much to get into on air, you know, but...
No, that's fine, I understand that. I mean, I had a personal experience where I sent the email down like you did a few days after you. I got a generic response of a bot, and that was about it, really. I mean, I'm no sour grapes or anything, but I admire David, as you know, and I was hoping that the likes of GUNN could use a platform like that to get a decent audience.
Well, to be honest with you, it looked as pretty positive feedback that my band and that were going to be playing on it. But I've still not ruled that out, you know. But just need to sit back. But I think, I mean, in all honesty, I know Dom can come on and attack the People's Voice and that, you know what I mean? But in all honesty, I think they'll just try to survive. £300,000 isn't a great deal of money. I've had a wee bit of experience in the sort of acting world and all that sort of kind of society, and that's pennies for the sort of operation they're trying to run there, you know.
Kev, you were saying that you and Dave applied, man. And for me, it's not the money thing. It's not the money thing. It's there for people who want to contribute money to it. I mean, if they've got a gun to somebody's head, yeah. I just, for me, I'm not seeing any value for money, so I won't be contributing money. If you want to do it, fair dues. But I didn't apply to the People's Voice because, see, deep down, Kev, I knew there certainly wasn't a voice for more controversial people who, me personally, I don't think anybody that says the range of things I say would be let anywhere near the People's Voice. Do you want to know why? Because they have advertisers, mate, and their business model is based on advertisers. So if they've got somebody that...
Getting a bit of feedback from Dom, I believe it is there, Kip, sorry.
Oh, I think Dom's just joined us in the room, so I was wondering if, Dom, just for 2 seconds, mate, let us know when you're ready, and then if you could mute up, mate, while we're...
Alright, I'll just go and get headphones sorted and everything. I'll be with you in about 3 minutes.
Right, no worries, mate. No worries, buddy. Just let us know when you're ready, mate.
Kip, see when you're saying that, Kip, just for 1 second, see when you're saying, see the revelations about George, what's his name, the wee Tory, George Osborne, the revelations that came out about him doing the coke and all that, and the prostitutes that came out, and the debate on it, I think that's pretty hardcore stuff, you know what I mean? And I have heard, you know what I mean, like pretty rough stuff came out, you know what I mean? It's quite hard hitting at that time.
See, I'll tell you some connections that I would be worried about.
I don't think they're frightened of pulling any punches.
See, here's some connections that some people may or may not be worried about now. There's people that have speculated David Icke is part of the Groucho Club. I've never seen anything convincing myself, but Keith Allen is a member. He's an admitted member. He confirms he is a member. Now, take Keith Allen's known personal life to one side. What has this guy done? And this raises more questions than answers for me. This is me trying to look at it from both sides. Keith Allen made a documentary that then get banned in this country, accusing the Queen and royal family and Prince Charles of murdering Princess Diana. And this guy is still walking and breathing and walking around the UK. Now, go and look into the Groucho Club. There's a lot of stuff in and around the Groucho Club. Now, you could say don't brand them with all the same stick or whatever that saying is that I've lost now. But anyway, you get the meaning. But go and look at the Groucho
with the
Club.
same brush.
It's primarily there for media-esque kind of society folk, right? So go and look into the Groucho Club. Keith Allen is a confirmed admitted member. He turns up and is involved in the People's Voice to a certain degree. The stuff that he's done through his career, and even in turn days, the important work and the revelations that, yes, they have brought out about David Osborne and stuff, is this information that they're getting from these Groucho Club sources getting used as a part of a bigger agenda? That's what I'm trying to ultimately understand, mate. That's why I'm saying I'm not here to bash David Icke or anything. I want to just ultimately find out what way's up, who's taking trust. I don't think David Icke's deeply inherently bad, but I certainly get big problems with Keith Allen. I'm surely like yourself, man. What's your take on the Keith Allen aspect, and even the great work and the fact that he pointed out the royal family was involved in Princess Diana? The fact he's still walking says to me he's protected somehow.
Well, the very last thing that you said there made a lot of sense. I haven't heard of the Groucho Club, in all honesty. I haven't looked into it. But I give the guy kudos for the video. Is it delisted? It's called. It's just a band outright. You're not allowed to see that. It's basically like the laws that they're trying to bring out just now. Like it's like you cannot talk about the royal family anymore. You're not allowed to see what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, who are these people that are above the law? That's just 2014. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing that scares me is the fact that Keith Allen.
Well, the Queen makes the law.
But the fact that he called for the royal family. He said the royal family was responsible for Diana, and he's still walking and talking and breathing, and his daughter's still in the music industry. He's still doing his thing. He's involved with the People's Voice. That's where I don't know. And I think I'm being fair when they're genuine concerns of mine about the People's Voice rather than the money thing. And the fact they do have sponsors and obviously need to tanger towards sponsorship or the business model doesn't work. But
well, I'll tell you what, guys, right? We've talked about the People's Voice there. And to counter the People's Voice as well, we've got Dom, another opinion on the People's Voice. Dom, you're obviously quite outspoken about the People's Voice and you've got an alternative to that. Now, do you want to briefly talk us through your alternative vision of a People's Voice? If Dom's with us?
I don't know if he's hooked up yet, mate. He said he would get back to us and sends a message when he got his headset and that sorted. So I think he's still having his burger or whatnot.
Definitely, man.
I don't know.
Smell it from here.
I don't know whether he's more of a salad man or a burger man.
Possibly. We've got some people in the chat room there asking about our opinions on David's theories on the moon spaceship and the other one about the arrest warrant on the Queen.
Well, I think the arrest warrant thing on the Queen is very interesting because they're trying to get the common law court, and I've heard lots of people shouting and stuff about it. Please show me who's going. Somebody tried to arrest Tony Blair, a citizen's arrest the other day. Like, you can go up to Tony Blair and the Queen and go, "Oh, you're under arrest." Try and walk away and put them in jail. You'll be dead. So, like, it's brilliant. And I'm not detracting for the great work everybody's doing, and we do need to try and get the understanding out there. I'm just trying to think of what's going to actually work.
Kip, I've lived this umpteen times now. Kevin Annette does some great work exposing the royals and paedophilia, but the amount of times I've heard that there's arrest warrants issued for this one and that one, on the face of it, it's absolutely brilliant. And when I was first coming into this information, it really was. I thought it was a game changer. But whether it's cry wolf or just the sheer repetitiveness of it, with nothing happening at the end of it, like you say, I dare anyone to try and get within 10 feet of the Queen.
See, it's not going to happen. It's okay being sound legally, doing your research and perfectly be within your rights and being within humanity and even legally speaking right. It's another thing walking up and arresting the Queen. She's got her, what is it, Chunky Mark said? She's got her Cockney Geordie army, man.
What happened to us outside Buckingham Palace for daring to have anonymous masks on and pointing through the fences? We got guns pointed at us, guys. The Queen probably wasn't even in the palace that day. That's what we're talking about. And I was announcing before the show that we'd be bringing commonly known as Dom on. He is now all prepared, burger done, headphones on. Dom, it's great to have you on board. We had an absolutely brilliant feedback the last time you were on the show. Looking forward to doing it all again, and I believe you've got lots more information for us tonight. Some of it Kip kind of sent me earlier on, and I must admit it resonated with me right away, because one of the characters involved is somebody that I thought quite innocently had been a big fan of my work, but it turns out it could be something totally to the contrary. So Dom, welcome.
Just before we bring Dom in, I need to say Eva Silver liked my shout out for the show on my YouTube channel before.
She likes absolutely everything, man.
And it was her YouTube channel name, man. So make it at what you will. Eva Silver's out there, man. So what do you reckon of Eva Silver, Dom?
I think he's still on mute.
Yo, you still muted up, Dom? Did he send you a message there, man?
Yeah, saying he's ready. Oh.
Yo, Dom, just start shouting out when you keep shouting out, man. We'll let you know when we can hear something. Because we're, as you were saying, Kev, you were noticing that before the show, me and the guys were speaking, and we were saying that it was. I thought it was a bit of a robot, like-esque.
Well, let me just preface all of this by saying that myself and Anne, we obviously do the Facebook thing together, and sometimes we found it quite amusing. There would be a certain person pop up all the time within maybe 5 seconds of anything being posted, always liking stuff or always sharing it. Now, sometimes, Kit, these articles maybe would have taken a good 10-15 minutes to get to the crux of it, let alone to finish it. So that was always, it kind of amused me. It always did, and myself and Anne would have a wee laugh. Maybe I've got a bit of a groupie or something like that. But then today you told me you'd got a hold of Dom, who has now joined us.
Yay!
Welcome, Dom. You're finally here, man.
Yeah, I was talking away with you guys just a minute ago. I didn't realise that you couldn't hear a thing.
It's the joys of Skype. The NSA had you on mute.
Did you catch what we're up to there, Dom?
Yeah. I've been listening from the start, and we got up to the part about Eva Silva and who this character is. And somebody sent me a picture of her the other day, or who they think it is, with Bossman Davy Jones and other profiles that they go under, like Junior Powell, Ruby Red. They've got quite several profiles, and I'm not saying like that's wrong, because I've got several profiles. I've got known as Dom, commonly known as Dom, CKA Dom, Wu Ming, nickname, and like many people do that so they don't lose accounts. But this Eva Silva seemed to come out of the blue when Chunky Mark was doing a lot of stuff, marching to Parliament with the pig, and setting up a lot of different groups all day long, different groups, different buzzwords, whether it will be UK column stuff or Chunky Mark or whatever, Occupy, Anonymous. She was setting them up, loads of them, and the ones that got the main interest, they carried on with the control of that group and posted out all their one-sided information. So I didn't know who this Eva Silva was, but as you know from the last show, we found that the Lawful Rebellion were tying themselves in with TUC, the Trade Union Congress, who have got a lot of power behind them in the media and other circles where they can get literally, last time they done a big thing in London, they got 500,000 people on the streets, 256 people got arrested, Fortnum and Mason's got smashed up. I was in fact the last one that got arrested out the whole weekend, not for anything really, they just wanted to get me out of the way. But when you see this kind of action going on time and time again, and then you see what's happened in the last couple of weeks, this Eva Silva has been setting up profiles under the guise of some EDL type group, EDV I think it was. I'm not too sure.
English Volunteer
Force, EVF.
Yes. I've never even heard of that before. I saw it in the group. And then you saw that this boss man, Davy Jones, was a member of the EDL, and he's from Herne Bay in Kent, and they're all on it. And then they're promoting Lawful Rebellion through the EDL ranks. So now you've got Lawful Rebellion, EDL, and TUC all wanting to march in the same area. It's not a good thing, guys. It seems like another setup where they're going to push protesters into one area and then use it as propaganda tools. Look at Birkenhead. I swear the mainstream system is just holding back with that information, and one day, just like what they've done with Jerry Kane in America, he's the guy that's quite famous on the police brutality videos where his son shot 2 coppers, and he was a sovereign citizen, as they call him over there, and they basically this guy, he was a white supremacist, but once you've got that sort of information and tie it to the white supremacy, it's part of their propaganda tools to cause the divide, like they did with Ruby Ridge. They set up Randy Weaver from Ruby Ridge and invited him to a white supremacist group. He went down there and they've got all the photographs they need once he's turned up, and then he walked away saying, no, I don't want nothing to do with that, but they've got the tools to use on the mainstream media. Like Birkenhead with very high-profile BNP members at the front. You've got gangsters running it. You've got Roger Hayes, who's ex-UKIP. You've got cross-dressers. You've got all kinds of, obviously, you've got all walks of life, and they're all there. But what I'm talking about is, if they're going to be controlling every part of the revolution by using celebrities as well, then who's to say that they're not going to come in the so-called truth movement ranks and control that from the top down?
I think it would be naive to think they wouldn't try and do that, to be honest with you, Dom. And I think what you're really pointing out here is the danger of peaceful protesters being lumped into basically attaching themselves to this. They're being duped, basically, aren't they?
It could be seen as a bigger agenda as with the EDL disbanding and setting up a lot of.
I know there was a lot
umbrella
of infighting there. There was a lot of infighting there, Kip, wasn't there? I mean, me with my love of the EDL and their love for me.
But think about it, if they set up a lot of umbrella groups, and within those umbrella groups try and bring in the disassociated groups that have been created, whether it's your Chunky Mark ones, whether it's your whatever person on YouTube, they would set up umbrella groups, get them all involved, and then, as Dom's saying, bring them all together in one big mass protest. You've got skinheads, you've got left, right, up, down, you've got every sort.
Wasn't it that Eva Silver actually daring to use Chunky Mark's picture? Because you'd have to say he's a bit of a leftist, really, wouldn't you?
I was just going to say, you've got, think of every single person you've got in the groups. You've got left, right, up, down, and then you've got the police kettling them, and you've got what they want. They kick off.
Days just this week on YouTube, he highlighted the fact that Metropolitan Police, they're going to be spending, I believe it's £200,000 on water cannons. So it's all lining up for a summer of discontent here, folks. We're going to be going out to a break in a minute. We'll obviously be coming straight back, getting back into it with Dom. He'll be exposing more of the people behind the controlled opposition. And obviously we'll be catching up with Kip, Marty, Days, and in the second half of the show, we'll be catching up with our good friend Nick. I think that's all. Us almost there, Kip. Anything you want to say before we go out?
Just join us after the break. You need to stay tuned for the second half for Barton Moss. Nick's got some amazing stories about what he's actually been doing on the ground to affect some change. So stay tuned, y'all.
You can buy our bumper stickers as well.
Pledge no allegiance, nigga, fuck the president's speeches. I'm baptized by America and covered in leeches. The dirty water that bleaches your soul and your...
Okay, welcome back everyone. You're tuned into this week's live broadcast of GUNN, Glasgow Underground News Network, right here on Truth Frequency Radio Network. And obviously go and share truthfrequencyradio.com right across your social media, Facebook, YouTube's, Twitter, the lot, okay? Spread the word of truth. Now,
Kev, don't forget our plugs, man. You need to check out our YouTube channels, man. You've got Days Independent Media, DJs Northwest.
Right, I have to stop there, man. I have to stop you because I got pulled up for this the other day, and I'm gonna warrant, I guess, that Days will be too scared to do it live on the air. It's Days Independent News.
Oh Jesus! If I said media all the time,
I apologise. See, I've learned.
It's not the first time we'll be like that, man. But nicely corrected, man.
It's horrible, but Kip, because when I was on with Popeye the other night on Truth Frequency as well, I hate plugging myself. There's nothing worse. I don't mind plugging people that come on the show. That's not a problem. But see, when it comes to plugging your own work, I'm not.
Man, somebody's got to do it, mate. Nobody else is going to do it for me. So, Kips, Clips, TruthTube, TruthTube 451. Freedom News Hub 2.0. Check it out in the BoobTubes, man. You'll love it. So
well, before the break, commonly known as Dom was getting into the fact there's a character on Facebook doing the rounds called Eva Silver. Now, I believe there's at least 5 Eva Silvers in the chat room with us tonight. And
yes.
Welcome, y'all. One of them is the real one. But Dom, back to you, man. Anything else you want to say about this march on Parliament or the Facebook activity that you've seen going on?
Well, yeah, like these people, they're not too bright, like the busman Davey, whatever his name is. Basically, we found videos on his YouTube channel that were nothing more than, I can only explain it as just extreme racism. And we posted it about, and I've got a nice picture, which we're going to meme up for him. And the thing is, he's taken down the racist ones, like, because like it would really expose them if like they're coming out and going like, let's kick them about and all the rest of it. So they are trying to incite a summer of discontent, and that is what they want. They want people to go out there en masse to protest, like things like this fracking protest and the rest of it. I can only see that as nothing more than a training exercise for the police. If you saw how they were operating down at Bolcombe, they were training. Bristol police were the ones that arrested me in snatch squads. And what they would do is they weren't arresting people immediately for anything that was happening. They would wait, they would take the data, they would take it back to their centre, they would evaluate it, and then like they would wait and single you out, and a group of cops would come up beside you, they would grab you, a van would drive up the road, park, boom, straight in the van, off, you're gone. And that's how they're doing it. And I'm thinking, well, this is happening every single time. It's just like a test run. And when I did get arrested down there, and I was talking to the police about how the system is and everything, and they're asking me daft questions in the interview of, did I steal the hat? And I'm just saying to them, well, have you got any proof that I've stolen it? If not, what am I doing here? And they had to let me go in the end. And the cops that took me back were telling me stuff like, it's an in-house joke at the police station because there's no fracking going on down there. And Frack Off at the time was sending pictures and memes, making them go viral, saying, look what's happening to the water in Balcombe, it's going dirty because of the fracking, which is a blatant lie, and it's propaganda because there was no fracking. They also put up other pictures of water pouring out the floor and saying, this is happening in Balcombe because of the fracking. Can't have been, because there was no fracking, so it was all lies. So who are these people that are right at the top, like Reclaim the Power? They squatted a field at Balcombe and took, apparently they said something like 26 grand in donations for one weekend. So I want to know what their motives truly are, because when you look at these people that are out there and they make it out to be a good thing, and then they've got a group behind them, then it just seems like one big psychological experiment being run in real time, in the real world, and they're just manipulating humans from all walks of life, because obviously you've got a lot of rebellious, or you can call them awake people, or whatever you want to name them, and these people could be seen to be a threat to the system. So what they need to do is they need to control even the rebellious people, and that they seem to be doing quite a good job of it. And something that did resonate quite well with me recently was my friend explained to me about the City of London and how we all know that's listening probably that the City of London is actually half a square mile, and it's a foreign district sitting inside London. And then you've got Westminster just off of the side of that, which is another separate city to Greater London. So you've got these two cities, one's the royals and the other one's the livery companies, the guilds, the Freemasons and the banking district. Now, they're at each other's throats. You look at Occupy, it was run by Tavistock, Common Purpose, BBC, the High Court, and they're just a few to name that we exposed, proof, fact, with names and who these people were. But these are all companies that are outside the City of London, and they've created a protest and come at the City of London. Now, halfway through, or not even halfway through, about 4 weeks into the protest, this copper will come up to me and he goes, what time's this march going on today? And then by the end of the talk, I walked away and I noticed these two coppers walking round to every other group of people at this protest, saying to them, what time's this march going on? By the time they disappeared, everyone's walking around asking each other, what time's this march? And then all of a sudden a load of drums appeared and they marched them all off down to a new site. So to me, that was just one big experiment, but like it's a clash between the two cities, which are against each other, believe it or not.
So, like, are you thinking it's important to push this 15th of March date, Dom? Everybody keep an eye on, because they seem to be bringing a lot of disgruntled groups, trying to get them out in the street, march down to Parliament and arrest the Queen.
It's not even just that, Kip, it's at a time when people are getting pissed off, so they're going to look for somewhere like that to go, and that'll look, on the surface, that'll look brilliant, that's what I'm looking for. I'll go down and I'll voice my protest, but they'll be walking into something totally not crap.
I want to change and stuff, but I certainly don't want to get clubbed over the head doing it.
And that's what we're doing here. I mean, GUNN likes to think of themselves as not only putting out the information, but we like to get active as well. We go to the protests, and when we see something like this coming up, I think it'd be wrong of us not to point it out, Kip. It really would. Absolutely. We're telling people to get active, and then pointing out the problems. Days, on you go, man.
The one thing that I wanted to make Dom aware of as well is that they're going for these water cannons. The police are looking to use them against any anti-austerity forthcoming protests, you know. And it's like, where is the evidence of it anyway? But as you were saying, you've uncovered the evidence of it. But that could be the countermeasure that the police are trying to bring in with the water cannons to spark off some sort of martial law, you know.
They could even use the 15th of March, have a bit of trouble, and then say, well, listen, in case we have more protests coming up, we've got these 3 water cannons on standby, let's just go and spend it. And the middle classes and the public will go, oh yeah, brilliant idea. It's a bit like the body scanners. They had them on order, they had them paid for, they just needed the perfect excuse to roll them out. Could this be the excuse? Possibly.
I'd be interested to watch how many groups start up this 15th of March thing, whether the TUC does indeed start getting involved, whether you get your sort of a EDF splinter groups or whatever you want to call them.
Martin was also saying in the chat there, Martin, do you want to come on and say what you were putting in the chat box for us, man? Because I think that was a good point as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, a lot of these groups like the EDL and so forth, the ones that have been created from it, they work hand in hand with people like the JDL, the Jewish Defence League, which is actually classed as a terrorist organisation by Homeland Security. But they do operate here within the UK, and they run a lot of anti-Islam kind of propaganda and rallies and stuff. And that's something that they've been doing all along with the EDL. You know, that's been funded by Zionist interests and stuff. And it's all about, like you say, divide and conquer. And, you know, we're all living here in Britain and trying to get along with each other, you know, different races and religions. And they don't want that. They want this big clash of societies and this breakdown. And
well, I think a couple of the characters that were even connected to this Eva Silver, I mean, Dom will be able to actually elaborate on this, but was one not DJ Davey or something, and is he not like some jihadist ranter on the net against anti-jihadists?
Well, that's the guy we was just talking about, the boss man that's taking his racist videos down.
Have they taken them down now? That makes a change.
Yeah, the one you linked me to the other day, Dom, has been took down I don't know, a lot of people got a lot of attention.
I've got a lot of... I took a screenshot of the video at a very nice point where he's making a hand signal. So we'll make a nice meme of it to prove the video did exist.
Well, it definitely did, because I watched it, man.
Yeah.
It was just tonight when I went back to it, it wasn't there. I don't know when. I didn't notice when it got took down, man.
Well, I can't wait for these protests. You got one on the 5th of March, you got one on the 15th, and then you got that big one we talked about, was it in July, with the TUC involved. So it's all going to build up for one huge summer of discontent. They failed at Occupy to get, like, hundreds of thousands of people on the street protesting, and that's what they need. Like, somebody was saying to me the other day, we need to, like, do this kind of action that they've done in Ukraine or like Iceland. They done it in Iceland and they took over. And it's like, what? And they're going, well, why can't you do it over here? And I'm like, well, if you go and take on that kind of, you call it illusionary power or the powers that were or whatever, but they own the military. And if needed, they will call the military in to keep things under control. So I went and looked, and all I'd done was Google Iceland Army. And if you Google Iceland Army, go and have a look at the Wikipedia link, and you'll work out very, very quickly why Iceland was easy to take over. Their army consists of 3 boats and their coast guards with small arms. They've got no standing army. That's why they were able to overthrow their government. Now,
the fishing fleet's stronger.
Huh?
The fishing fleet is stronger than that.
Yeah, it must be. But like when you think about it, if they're saying, yeah, well, this is how you like get people on mass protest, do it like Iceland. Well, why aren't they telling people that the only reason that they done it in Iceland was because they've got no army? So it's easy. You know, if we didn't have an army over here, I'd be telling people, right, get into Parliament, kick them sickos out. I had to hold my tongue there, and get into the City of London, kick them out, and let's start again. At the end of the day, I do believe that the system needs to collapse for the humans to find themselves again, because the social engineering and the psychology that has gone on in the human race, people are either controlled by advertising, media, education, the healthcare system, vaccines. It's all there by design. Even the food, you've got hardly any nutrients in the food anymore. So this is just one big control that has to collapse from the bottom up. Really, it's got to come down. Otherwise, we're not going to stand a chance. And when you've got things like Occupy, which were coming in and saying, yeah, we've got a corrupt system, and like loads of people are going, yeah, we've got to have change. And then you've got the leaders of Occupy who are not calling themselves leader, but they self-appoint themselves. And then they're saying, this is the system we need. And they're creating exactly the same system as what the government have already got, but they're trying to implement more rules on top of that. So it's just more slavery they want for people. And it was just like Cambridge style protesters trying to control the revolution is the way I saw it.
I see a lot of groups out there trying to scoop up all because more and more people are getting disillusioned by the propaganda that is peddled by the alternative media as well as the mainstream media, to get people in such a frenzy where they want to do something about it. And that's where you need to sort of that's where you need to sort of check yourself before you wreck yourself and do something constructive rather than negative, and really think long and hard before you actually contribute to what could be a mass slaughter, mass taking away of rights, martial law. Because there's a lot of people discontent about a lot of things. There's very few people out there I don't know that aren't pissed off, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
No one's happy. Everyone's depressed. The world that we were brought up in.
Well, there was something I saw which at the moment, one of the things I'm watching a lot of at the moment are things like university lectures on psychology and things like that, and I'm learning an awful lot how these psychologists have put their experiments into real time, and one of them is this group mentality thing of it's group conformity basically, where they'll put 5 actors in a room and they'll bring a stooge in, they'll put him in the place in between 4 and 5, and then they'll ask them questions saying multiple choice, which line is the same as the other lines, and then you've got to answer A, B or C. Now if you've got 4 people before you saying the wrong answer, they reckon a huge percentage, like 90% of people will actually go with the group mentality so they don't look silly, even though they blatantly know the answer's wrong. And that's what's happening at these occupies, where they're having meetings or protests, and they've got the group mentality where you've got the leaders controlling it with their opinions and their views, which they're programmed to say, and then like because people want to be part of that group, they will agree with the mentality just so they can get the positive reinforcements of the, yeah, you're good, you're part of our group, yeah, well done you, and yeah, have a chocolate biscuit, basically, to keep them compliantly happy.
That actually reminds me, Kev, of the anti-fascist, anti-racist demo we went to in Glasgow. And it's all well-meaning, turn up, I mean, heart in your sleeve and stuff, and it was a real learning experience for me when you turn up there and the people who are giving the speeches are the MPs that are put us in this place, and they're talking about, I mean, I wish people, before they use the word bigot, go and actually look up the definition of it. I'm sick of so many people saying that this, I've got no time for bigots. I'm sorry, man. Go and look up the definition of it. And you were there, Kev. We seen, I think it was Sandwar and stuff, stand up there, and a lot of people were cheering exactly what Dom is saying there. I would say if you got the everybody that was there on an individual basis, you'd be able to speak to them and get some real answers out of them. But put them in that group mentality, put an MP in front of them, and you get people clapping for speeches that you don't really agree with. Because I think if people actually thought about what they were hearing that day, a lot of people would go, no, because it doesn't really make sense. Let's ban them because they want to ban us.
The same as when I went to a few of the Occupy meetings in Glasgow, Kip. They would have you doing this thing, the People's Mic, which we've all seen. One person talks, everyone repeats it. And it doesn't matter if you disagree with whatever that person's spouting, you're stood there reiterating it for them. It's a bit crazy, but when you were at the anti-racism one, I was actually enjoying the protest until you made the observation that it was quite a fascist, bigoted protest in itself. But you were quite right, Kip.
I couldn't stand there and speak. I couldn't stand there and go, I'm clapping with this good.
Who likes this show? This is perfect for somebody like me, and I think a lot of the listeners are probably like me as well. They would walked into protests on the 15th of March and the ones coming up this summer full of optimism and wouldn't have wanted to look too far below the surface, because we want that change, we want it to be good. And me personally, this is a big learning curve. You know I like going to the protests and everything, Kip, but just going with you and Days, so much I've learnt. And I don't know, is protesting even worth it? Is there any protest that is genuine, Kip, and you're actually there for the right reasons?
Well, I would say, like, for me, I definitely want to go to these things to soak in the information. I would never say I'm going as a protester to protest, because ultimately I don't want to get clubbed over the head for fighting for something I already know I've got, freedom. I just try and keep the people who tell me I've not got freedom at the door, if that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people need to understand that. Listen, people with funny costumes try and dictate to me a lot of the time. I try and duck and weave as much as that as I possibly can. And ultimately, I don't like to play their game, so I try and stay away, man. But it's a hard one to call, Kev. I definitely look at the stuff that me and you have both learned, the days as well that for the protests that we went to. That the BBC one with Days, the anti-fascism one, Bilderberg, phenomenal. What a learning experience, Kevin. It allows us to
controlled Bilderberg.
Well, it allows us to be in a position to see that we are getting offered up these controlled protests, and then it allows us to be in that plateau where we can say, right, let's come to we now know there are controlled protests. Let's think why, where are they leading people, and ultimately they're leading people into a frenzy to get them all stirred up to let the crap break loose and then order out a chaos, man. That's what I can see coming up.
Definitely, I've said that all the time. They need the chaos, and that's what they're trying to get. And I mean, we do need a collapse of the system, but at the same time, the elites want it to collapse as well, and it's what comes in on the back of it that we need to be careful about.
Now, if we look back at Bilderberg and Occupy, they weren't looking at any kind of positive change. Like, what if you got that many thousands of people in one area? Imagine how much energy is being wasted on protest when they could go out and build things free from the system, communal gardens, guerrilla gardening, anything like that, where you're putting back to nature what has been taken. It's being wasted, is the way I see it. And these people, these are good people. 90% of the people at protests are there with a big heart, trying to do some positive change in the world, and they don't realise how manipulated this system is.
I think there's a really good point that everybody should, at least, if you don't agree with them, at least take them in your head and take them into consideration and try to come to a more objective position rather than just buying into what your blind on the surface told is good or bad.
I don't think it can do any harm to go into these protests with an open mind and to make decent observations about what's going on round about you. That's just common sense, if you ask me.
Well, I go to them anyway because they are entertaining. There's a lot to do there. I'm intrigued by the whole thing. But even at the Bilderberg protest, I was going around the whole of the outskirts planting organic hemp. So how many people were planting things there? How many people were there to see David Icke and worship him and Jones and Charlie Skelton and Eleanor Wilson? It's like screwed up system, man. Really screwed up.
I think though as well, I think it's important to, for me, I always try and say this, I don't like to condemn people who are ultimately trying to get to the same places as all, but might have took the wrong turn, left one way or the other, but are still open to trying, as I see it, like, ultimately want to try and get the same place as us. Because a lot of people go, oh, look at him, he believes that, look at him, he believes that, so on and so forth. But a lot of people have just been sold a lot of shite, because there's a lot of crap out there that's very convincing and very easy to soak up if you're not actually paying attention to the fight that's out there for your attention, basically. I don't know whether you think there's a lot of stuff out there, Dom, that could lead people astray. That ultimately you couldn't condemn them for having that point of view. They've just bought some bad information along the way, and a lot of people don't like to change their mind if they've had a belief that they've held for so long.
Once they're bought into the truth, it's hard for them to get out. There's all this information recently of people getting snow from outside, bringing it inside.
Oh, Dom, I'm glad you brought that up, because you possibly gave the best explanation that I've seen explained on Facebook about sublimation.
I only took that from somebody else, and his name's
Doesn't
Ben.
matter. I got it from your feed, and that was the one, because I'd heard it on a podcast, somebody trying to explain it, and I've never done chemistry and stuff like that, so it was kind of confusing. But reading that,
snow is 95% air.
Do you want to tell the listeners why the burning snow stuff is absolutely ridiculous?
Now, basically, what they're saying is they're burning the snow and it's disappearing, and it's only leaving a small amount of residue where they'll burn an ice cube and then it will like leave like a puddle straight away. Now, if we look at the evidence there, you've got snow, which has been scientifically proven to be 95% air. So when you put a lighter to it, it's going to be like a sponge. It's going to disappear into itself, into the cold parts, until you're left with that last little 5%. And if you burn an ice cube, it's 100% water, so it's going to leak straight away. Now, they're saying, oh, it smells of plastic. I think you might find that is your lighter from holding it for 5 minutes on a piece of snow.
I also think the chemical butane smell might be coming from the lighter as well, which you'll get if you just burn a lighter normally. But Dom, the thing that got me is me and Kip have covered this in the past, this whole thing where everything's fake now. And I thought it was just events in the news, but what prompts somebody to wake up in the morning, look out their window, and actually question whether the snow that is falling is fake in the first place? And then when they start burning it, how have you got something to compare that to? Did you go out and burn snow last year? Is it just me, or is this going to be the worst viral bullshit on the net in years?
We've had the same conversation, me and my mate, and it was like, I've been trying to look around for some kind of an experiment where they've burnt snow before in the past, so they know that this has gone on. Because
that's what I was looking for, some kind of benchmark, something to measure this against, but I couldn't find it. Einstein hadn't done that one.
Guys, you are obviously not aware of the World Snow Melting Championships.
Well, only Vladimir Putin's allowed to enter that because he's guaranteed himself a gold over in Sochi. I thought he was going to wrestle bears, but he's just going for the Snow Melting Championship.
It's no joke.
Snow job.
With a snow job.
Oh,
right, well, we've just got a minute and a half before we're going out to break. Is there anything you want to say rounding up at all? Dom, when we come back, we're going to speak to Nick a wee bit about the Barton Moss scenario and super gluing himself to a few folk, I believe, as well. So I don't know if there's anything you want to do to round up any pages or anything. Well, as I said, I'm going to, on my channel, hopefully I'm going to start posting things about Dom's project, the People's Voice, where people don't donate money, they only donate time and effort. So I'm going to hopefully try and get a wee daily or weekly blog or something together with that so people can keep in touch. I think it's a good idea for anybody who can donate something other than money. If you ain't got no money but you get time and effort, maybe you can help, maybe you can't, but I'll certainly put the information up so everybody who wants to contribute can do it, and let's see what can get achieved. And I'd definitely love to put out information, Dom, how far you've got as well, mate.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we've got a great group of people in a Skype group at the moment, and they're bang on it, like designing a website, designing a forum, to cut the promo videos ready to go. So, like, we're getting on top of it, ready to put it out there. And this is just from in the last couple of weeks of people putting their own time and energy into it. And even there's been upsets in that group because I've wanted to be as open and honest with the whole group of guys in there, and 90% of them I've not met and I don't know. So I'll be open and honest in there, and honesty can cause a lot of...
Welcome back to GUNN, the Glasgow Underground News Network, live on the True Frequency Radio Network from the UK. It's Sunday evening over here, be afternoon for you guys in the States. And just want to welcome you all back. And I think Kip was getting Dom to finish off on what they were talking about before the break. Yeah,
well, we'll just wrap up and get the shout-outs for people to get involved with Dom's project. And then we'll get Nick involved and he can talk about his super gluing antics and stuff. So a lot of people know Dom already, but for people who want to check out his stuff, commonly known as Dom on Facebook, will get you there. But I'll hand it over to himself and he can give you all the best ways to keep in touch with what stuff he's up to and stuff, Dom.
Yeah, cheers for that. Basically, I've got a video on YouTube at the moment called David Icke's The People's Voice Challenge, and all the information's in there of, well, that was the first video we put up. I'm going to do an update one, but you'll be able to find links to my Skype details. If you want to get hold of me on Skype and send me a message on there, I'll drop you off in the group. All the people are bouncing ideas off in there. We've got a couple of web designers, graphic designers, editors for films. We'll be looking for a lot more help, and it will be ongoing. People will be coming in and out of this constantly as time goes on. This is not a corporate venture where we've got a motive and a goal. It's going to be like just trying to give out free information freely, basically. So if you just go to my YouTube channel, which is commonly known as Dom, and see that video, the People's Voice Challenge, and contact me via Skype and take it from there, I suppose, is the best way.
And if people put in your details into my YouTube channel, that the video and all the links you're talking about will be. I made a video about your People's Voice, David Icke's People's Choice Challenge as well. So plenty of ways of getting all that information, and I'll hopefully be putting a lot more stuff up. So Dom, amazing chatting about that. Hopefully we'll obviously keep on the ball and see what happens. I think you said it was the 5th and the 10th of March. Then this one meant to be happening on the 15th, which will be interesting. So
the 1st of March, the 15th of March, they're the first two that are involved in lawful rebellion, but they've literally planned protests for every week in that area. So this is what the system wants this year.
Time and effort to cause disturbance, to destroy stuff. Well, Nick, I know we've got Nick Stop the Rock coming on. He's been up in Barton Moss. I think, am I right in saying, Nick, that you've actually been registered a missing person? You've been up there so long.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the place that I used to work at, because I quit my job to go up there, they put out a missing persons because they were worried about where I were. So West Yorkshire Police called me up while I was actually sat around the campfire getting mashed up with my mates after a hard day's activism to try and find out where I were. So I just referred them to Swinton Nick. I said, give them a call. They'll tell you I'm alive and bitching, and they probably don't want me to be.
So, mate, you've been up there doing activism. You've not been doing much protesting. You've been doing a lot of.
I'm not a protester. I'm not. There's no point in protesting corporate fascism. I'm resisting corporate fascism, and as long as I've got a hole in my arse, I'm going to continue resisting it.
Well said, man. And Nick, I want to thank you for being on the front line up there. Kudos to you, man. If I could be there, I'm sure the rest of the guys as well. Major respect to you, all your friends there. It's, in my opinion, a really important issue that you're protecting, not protesting, as you say. And, yeah, big up to you, man.
Keep fighting.
Thank you.
Keep doing that.
It's always, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of pleasure involved in resisting. And it's not all hard work, and it's not all arrests, and it's not all getting kicked fuck out of.
Super glue fetishes and...
Yeah, man.
Well, Nick, do you want to tell the audience what you've actually been up to this week? I believe he's caused a bit of a ruckus in Salford itself. I'm going to let you tell the full story, man.
Well, we decided that since Salford Council gave the planning permission to a company called iGas to frack the shit out of this area, that we'd go down and just remind them who's in charge. So we went down and locked on in their foyer. Now, for those who don't know what locking on is a process that you do by way of D-locks or super glue or anything that you can stick yourself to something and stop things from going on. So we sat in the foyer of Salford City Council with a few arm tubes. One guy de-locked himself to a window mechanism. Another guy super glued himself to the window. But me and my friend super glued ourselves inside some arm tubes. And then the protestor removal team came and had to cut us out. We're on first name basis with them guys at the moment. They're all good. All right, Dave.
There's nothing Orwellian about those guys, Nick, you know, the protester removal team. No wonder they let us protest if they have a team to remove us.
Yeah, man, you know. Well, you see, the thing is, like, they're kind of mixed up because they think we're protesters. We're far more than protesters. Protesters stand around with banners and go, we're not going to do this. We're not allowing this. What we do is we do far more than that.
Well, Martin's in your neck of the wood, and he was telling us beforehand that like you're talk of the steamy. I don't know if people outside of Glasgow will understand that, but there's been you heard about the story coming out from Salford, didn't you, Martin?
Yeah, I was visiting a friend 20 miles across town, other side of the city, over in Salford. And it's big news around there, man. And those guys are not into, the alternative media or anything like that. They're all you've got them all talking.
Yeah, man.
So I did forward them to the show, so they might be listening.
And as you said, Nick, it's not about celebrity, but it's about raising awareness. And Martin hit the nail on the head. This isn't this isn't information they come across, and they're running the mill day-to-day business. So the fact that you're doing something out of the ordinary, shutting down an office, getting the word out there to people who wouldn't come across this information, it's raising awareness, which can only be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is about raising awareness, raising the profile of what we're doing down there, So direct action is not only retaliation for the brutality of the Greater Manchester Police, because believe me, I've never come across such brutality by police. They are horrible, horrible people.
It's the biggest gang
on the whole. They are a massive gang, yeah. And I tell you what, when they're going hard, they're going hard. Some of my friends have been beaten the living shit out of, right? And it's not good. It's not good at all. But the direct action that we do, a friend of mine, the guy that I share my tent with, and a few other guys locked themselves onto a Total petrol station. I don't know if you know that France have actually banned fracking. And there are many, many people that tell you that people aren't fracking in this country, and but fracking has been going on in this country, right? And at the moment it's going on in Stirling, and 2 children have burnt themselves with the corrosive shit that's been coming out of their tap water in Stirling in Scotland. And like I said, France have banned it, so Total have decided that they're going to frack over here instead of fracking in their own country.
And David,
so we
about with them. He was actually warding them.
So we whacked their station, and there were a policeman outside as well before them guys, and the policeman outside was just pulling off, and they were all dressed in paper suits with anti-fracking slogans written on them, and they went and locked themselves onto the petrol station. And how long did it take to get them off? 3 hours that we locked down the Total station. They couldn't sell any petrol. They couldn't do anything. It was fantastic, So my bit of direct action in the Civic Centre was only a small part of it. I've super glued myself to somebody else in an arm tube to stop the wagons from coming in. We stopped that for 2 hours. Every morning we. Sorry, Dom's just written in it. Where's the proof of that, Nick? Well, there's photos, mate. I'll send them to you later on. If you have a look in Stirling, you see the thing is they haven't advertised it, mate. They haven't advertised it in Stirling. They're not giving people the consultation periods.
Can I ask? Is the argument, or I've never looked into the technicalities. I came across this, but is it maybe between the because I know that I heard that they were doing exploration wells.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, at the moment in Barton Moss, they're doing exploratory drilling. Right, they're taking core samples out. Right, they are going to frack this country. There's no two ways about it. No matter what anybody tells you, at some point they are going to frack this country unless people stand up and resist, and it doesn't help when people sort of go, well, they're not doing it, they're not doing this, they're not doing that.
There's already been 172
They're doing it in Stirling near you guys, right? And if you just have a drive over to Stirling, right? I'll get you. I haven't got the information at hand now, but
Nick, I'll speak to you on that, mate, because I can get to Stirling fairly easy, man. And I'd love to go and do a follow-up on this, man.
I'll get you sort of the area to go to so you can see. But we sent, when I say we sent, some of our people from down here went up there on a bit of a mission to go and find out what they could find out. And the proof is in the pudding, Dom. Right? Yeah, there are people already.
Well, if Dom's
and there are gagging orders. Let me just say this as well. There are gagging orders placed on people, placed on doctors, so they can't share information out. The government are giving out jobs for the boys. And for me, like I say, it's not just about the fracking for me. It's about resisting corporate fascism, right? And our government are giving away contracts to massive companies to go into areas and decimate them areas with this dangerous process of extracting shale gas and other kinds of gas. You know, there's coal seam gas as well.
Well, Nick, I'd like to throw this out to Dom, because Dom was challenging you there on the genuine, is it genuinely fracking going on? And he was asking you for the evidence. And Dom, do you actually have any evidence to combat that fracking might not be going on in these areas?
Well, that's the first I've heard of it, and it's the same old, time and time again. It just seems like propaganda promoted by people at a protest, and people spread it like Chinese whispers, and then all of a sudden it's like taken as proof. But I've just Googled fracking in Stirling, and I can't find any information regarding that at all. Nothing. So is it just a protest propaganda again?
I'll tell you what. I stay near Stirling, so I'll speak to Nick, and
I just held a lighter to my tap there. Nothing happened.
and if you I'll just finish on this note. If you just Google Gaslands debunked, then you'll go on to a whole rabbit hole of information that proves Josh Fox, the maker of Gaslands, has made hundreds of thousands out of this film, and there's a lot of lies in it. That some of the areas where they're saying, look, this is happening, and they're lighting it at the tap, there's not been any fracking going on. It's naturally occurring and has been for thousands of years.
Well, I'm sure as the time goes on and more evidence comes apparent to everybody, we'll come to a better conclusion. I think, like, at the moment, one thing I would say about fracking, I've always said that there's more than meets the eye, especially what Nick was saying in the sense of, well, it's less about the fracking and it can be more as soon as talking about the corporations. I've argued that the fracking is more to do with the battle against Gazprom, the Russian giant. They want to drill here and get shale gas so that Britain and the West and Europe are self-sufficient in gas at any expense, so that we're no longer dependent on Russia. So, I believe there's obviously quite more than meets the eye, like you guys are saying. But like I'm against all corporations, whether it be Gazprom or Shell. So I could be happily seeing the great people down in Barton Moss, like what they're doing retrospectively of the corporation wars that are going is a good thing by slowing down the especially if they're slowing it down, it gives time for more people, more evidence to come out and for a better picture to be painted.
Well, I've just dropped into the chat here, and I don't know if one of the boys can drop it into the actual chat room, but it's a site called Frack Off Scotland. Thank you very much, Lynn, one of the listeners. She dropped that into my Facebook there. Really appreciate that. And that link there I've given the guys will provide you with a map, and it certainly does have Stirling as one of the areas that is on here anyway as down for fracking. Okay, just wanted to add that in. Can I just jump in here, because it's like Dom said that he's googled
Stirling and fracking and all that lot. These people are very, very secretive about what they do. Right, there's a reason why they're very, very secretive about what they do, because what they're doing is very, very dangerous to the environment that they're fracking in. So they don't fucking advertise it. They don't put it all over the place, right? The one at Stirling, or near Stirling, I'm not actually sure, because it wasn't me, I didn't go up there, but some of our people did, right? And they took a lot of photos of wagons coming out with chemicals, and nobody, absolutely nobody can say that it's a good idea to fucking drill into the ground and then inject fucking chemicals, right? Nobody can go down, say that it's a good idea to do that, inject chemicals into the ground and leave 40% of it in there, and they are doing it. They are doing it, right? I've seen it with my own very eyes, right? I've been up here for a while now. I've seen the chemicals going in. I've stopped for as long as I can the wagons that are going in with chemicals, right? And I know what propaganda is, Dom. I've read about propaganda. You know,
it's a bit very defensive of the fracking people, Dom.
Like, guys, I don't know whether, for me, the argument isn't whether fracking is real or not. I mean, just look at the States. They are now coming self-sufficient with shale gas that they're going to be exporting it in a timely fashion for Fukushima, allowing Japan to shut down all its nuclear power plants. But that's another story. But the fracking in this country, I don't know whether it's happening or not.
Have a look at Queensland, Australia. They'll tell you what it's like to be fracked.
Well, you've had 172 licences granted in the UK. You've got Cameron shouting about fracking all the time. You've got basically bribing the council. So I think
simple as this. Have a look at Queensland, Australia, and they'll tell you what it's like to be fracked, right? And you know, we can go on saying that, you know, that this is just propaganda and it's just this and this and what have you, right? But I'm telling you now, right? You will regret it if you do not resist it. Right, there's no two ways about it. It's a very dangerous process of extracting shale gas and coal seam gas.
Well, this is definitely the right kind of forum to actually have this discussion rather than slinging around insults. Actually try and figure out what the hell's actually going on. I mean, we've all said there's lots of things out there that can be perceived to be controlled, and ultimately, a lot of people in groups would like Occupy, as Don was saying, the vast majority of people there are actually turning up with the heart in the right place to make a change about. And I don't think fracking isn't good. I mean, I don't think anybody could make the argument fracking the earth is nice and healthy. I think you could make the argument about the greater global picture, what it's getting used for just now. Whether is it part of the agenda to just drill Western Europe with fracking to make ourselves self-sufficient in gas, which can't be a good thing and it's more of a geopolitical thing, so they can tell Russia to go and stick it.
Well, I think that's a brilliant point you're making there. But surely in the year 2014, right? Why are we not trying to go after Tesla's technology? All this time and effort still going into these well, you're protesting these corporations, okay, but surely at the same time we should be pointing out the fact that there's alternatives here. We should be getting away from these corporations. Surely we should be trying to tap into the 0 point. But no, when we move off of petrol, we're going to be going to this gas, and it's still going to be going into these corporations. But surely we should, and there's inventors out there working on this stuff. I know, JP, I think you look at this sort of thing. I've looked at these things. There's devices out there. Why aren't we protesting and getting these things out into the open? The patents are there. It's been said for so long. Surely people could get together and do this. That would be some way to combat the actual corporations who have the stranglehold on us right now.
Well,
all I get suppressed.
There's a lot of alternative energy sources out there. My old man, I'll say for the time being, he actually runs wind farms for the UK, and I've seen the figures. And in the UK, I mean, we're running anything up to 11% of our electric grid on a good day, a windy day, in the entire of the UK. So that's not bad. I mean, I think that we've got potential to have nuclear and wind and get away with it in the UK.
Scotland used to be a nation of inventors. We're world renowned for the stuff we came up with, and it just irks me so much that this kind of technology in this day and age, we aren't pursuing that. It's just so frustrating, and that would bring about a paradigm change, in my opinion, and that's the kind of thing we really need, as opposed to just a revolution with the new system coming in after that will probably take up most of the same crap that we're dealing with just now. Silence.
I just had the brain fart, man. I was actually trying to pay attention to the chat room there, Kev. I was seeing if Eva Silva was still kicking.
Which one?
Would the real Eva Silva please stand up? But I think fracking is a very important issue to be discussed at the moment. It's obviously ringing a lot of bells with a lot of people and getting a lot of people chatting. So it's important to try and get the real information out and allow people to make up their own minds. I know Nick's got 1,000,001 stories. To me, it sounds
it'd be nice to be able to get them out. To be honest, like, you know, waited an hour.
we were trying to
listening to you guys, you know.
We were trying to talk to each other before the show, and we couldn't. We were trying to keep our powder dry, and it was hard not to go through all the stories. But I don't know, Nick. But why don't see? Whatever way you think about the fracking, if you want to get yourselves down there and find out for yourself, Nick, how would be the best way for people to find out information, Facebook pages, how to get down there, who's involved, that kind of stuff? You with us, Nick? Oh, I think he's in mid-flow with somebody else. He's got a.
Sorry, mate. Could you just ask me that again? Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I was just saying for everybody that's listening, and if people want to find out information and come to their own conclusions, what's the best port of call for some information?
The best port of call is get your feet on the street. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. If you Google something about fracking, Google is one of the biggest fucking disgusting organisations on the fucking planet that is above government run. It runs governments, right? So it's like they're not going to give you the information that you want. Get your feet on the street, go down to somewhere, find out, go and have a look at some of them fucking drills that they're drilling with, right? You've only got to get down to Barton Moss now, right, and have a look, right? Tonight it's dark now. It'll all be lit up. It'll be making some disgraceful, horrible noises, right? And yes, pal.
I was gonna, sorry for doing this, but gonna say to yourself, you were saying to me earlier, you use tea lights and wood for energy. Yeah. Have you came across a Stirling steam engine?
I haven't, mate. No, I'm at the moment. I'm just trying to talk about what's going on down at Moss, mate. You know what I mean?
It is relevant, but carry on. Sorry, my friend.
I lost my train of thought there.
I think you were talking about.
Just get your feet on the street. Never mind. There are a lot of keyboard warriors. There are a lot of keyboard activists and all that lot that spread information and get. How do you what?
How do you get involved? Is what we were asking you before.
Just go down. There are many camps going to spring up around the country. Right. Just go and introduce yourself. Get down there. Ask some questions. People that know things. Yeah.
So Nick, you were even telling us, I was asking you myself for a few Facebook pages or some information you knew, man. So, any good Facebook pages you know?
Yeah, the best one is Barton Moss and Beyond. If you ask to join that, I'm sure that you'll be given access to it. But there are many. Brian, some Barton. Say no to fracking on Barton Moss. Say no to fracking anywhere. Fracking what? Fractivism on Barton Moss, Frack Free Salford, all these others. Yeah, if you just get on Facebook, you can find them there.
And if anybody wants to see Nick's pretty face, hold on, I'll tell them what to put in. If you put in Salford Council Civic Centre shut down by Barton Moss campaigners, and you'll get a lovely picture of Nick with a peace sign with what do you call it? Sorry, lock up.
Lock on. Yeah.
You lock on. Sorry, with
I mean, this is again. Let me just explain. I'm gonna say it again just in case it wasn't heard by everybody. Right. I'm not just at Barton Moss to resist fracking. I'm at Barton Moss to resist corporate fascism. Right. And even if you don't believe that the fracking, right, somebody's been given a massive contract to go and inject. I've seen the chemicals going in there, and somebody's been given a massive contract by fucking Salford Council and by central government to go in there and make lots of money and not make any money for these people that I'm sat with now in this house. Let me just give a big shout out to Brian, who's let me come down and use his Skype tonight.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Sorry,
like Dave.
And Dave. Yeah.
And it's Dangerous Dave there as well.
Yeah. And Dangerous Dave is here as well. So let me just say this though, like, you know what I mean? It's not
George Galloway.
It's not just about fracking, right? For me, it's about corporate fascism. And if anybody wants to challenge me on resisting corporate fascism, I'm more than fucking willing to debate with them, right? Because corporate fascism is what's going to fucking destroy this country, whether it's fucking sticking holes in the ground and putting chemicals down there or not. Right, yeah, it's not going to make it. Sorry about the language, mate.
He's passionate.
He's passionate. It's not about just sticking holes in the ground and chemicals in the ground, right? It's about the fact that they're selling this to the local people of Earlham, of Eccles. What's the other spot called just outside here?
1 minute to go, Nick. You take us out to
they're selling it to them people, right? With promises of jobs and cheap gas. It's not going to happen. And if you don't think what I'm telling you is true, just leave it for a couple of years and see what happens, right? Because there ain't going to be no jobs. There ain't going to be no cheap. Yeah, but it'll be too late. But there ain't going to be no jobs. There ain't going to be no cheap gas.
So get yourself on. Find out information about Barton Moss. Check out Salford City Council shut down. I think it was the Salford Star. You'll see a picture of your man Nick doing what he does best, getting his feet on the street and putting a peace sign on the floor. I was going to say, you weren't getting your feet in the street, you're getting your bum on the floor, mate, so...
Yeah, well, I did enough feet on the street, so I needed to use my bum as well.
Back after the break, y'all. Alrighty, welcome back to GUNN, Glasgow Underground News Network. My name is Days. Go and see me on YouTube under Days Independent, not media, it's news, so go and check us out. It's on Clips YouTube channel as well. Go over there, Freedom News Hub 2.0. Just before the break, we were talking to Nick about that. So from Days to Nick, how you doing, Nick?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You sound very strange tonight, Days. I hope you don't sing with that voice.
Yeah, I think you should clarify what just happened there, guys.
Say that again, Days. Yo, Days, you with us, man?
Just about, Kip. How you doing, mate?
I know you yourself, mate. You've had an amazing experience, and I really want to touch on this because I loved it, man. It was your UFO video, man. Check out his channel. So plug your channel. Tell people to go and check out your UFO video, man.
My YouTube channel is Days Independent News. It's DAIZ Independent News, and well, what can you say? Wednesday night saw a UFO, man, and just about had the wits about me to grab my phone and get a recording of it. It's had over 800 hits already in a couple of days, and the Enigma channel, Chris Everard commenting on it saying great video and UFO hunter, and everybody that's seen it seems to, you know what I mean, it's had a great response. I can't believe it, you know what I mean. It's
not one of those videos that you can just discredit. It's very, very convincing, man. People can give, I'm like everybody, you can be pragmatic and give explanations, but it's definitely a UFO in the classic sense. It's an unidentified flying object.
I can give you a quick sense of what happened. Basically, I looked out, I seen a sort of red and green lights in the sky, and I knew it wasn't landing lights of a plane. So it was a red and green cross in the sky. One leg was red, the other leg was green. When I got out when I turned to the other side of the house, it turned into the sort of cigar shape, and it was moving from left to right, right to left. Then it almost seemed to land. I went outside to try and find it, but I can't see any sight yet. But unbelievable. I can't account for it at all.
I watched your video, mate, and I think it was one of those wee mini helicopters they sell in the shopping malls, being flown at night.
Do you think you would have heard that, JP?
No.
Those wee things make a noise every time I've seen those wee helicopters. Maybe at a distance, yeah, but this thing looked...
I don't know if a camera phone or whatever was used would pick that up. What did you use to record it, Days?
Well, I don't want to, like, kind of...
Is it a phone or a camera?
Advertise what? A smartphone? A good smartphone? A modern, good smartphone?
That's all.
See, honestly, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and of course you're going to be dubious with a UFO, you know what I mean? But
Go and check out the video.
Can't believe what I've seen. It reminded me straight away, made me research the 1516 Nuremberg UFO sky battle in Germany. That's the only thing I can kind of point towards it. Any sort of way would describe what I've seen.
Well, if that was one of those little drones you can buy out of Maplin, I think the guys over at Fort Hood or wherever they fly the drones out to Afghanistan should snap him up, because that was amazing manoeuvres to stop like that. It stops basically dead, and I think if it was one of them, I just think that crosswinds and stuff like that, it was too smooth, man. It was just, I don't know, just too smooth. Like you said though, Kip, it's definitely unidentified. It's flying and it's an object, and we'll let people make their own mind up.
Go and check it out for yourself. It's one of those UFO sightings that, like, you definitely want to see because it is a genuine. And the fact that it was a hop, skip and a jump in the region of where I am, because I've never seen a UFO, but I really keep looking, man. I want to see one, but it's not turned up yet.
Chris Everard, who's on straight after us, obviously, we were on there a few weeks ago, Kip, great time. He does a lot of stuff on the UFOs, and I took that video straight to him, because usually when I watch these things, half the time you shout CGI, the other half of the time you just, nah, there's usually an explanation for it. But that one, just bizarre. And I took it straight to Chris, and as Daze said, he went right onto the video. He was commenting on it as well. It's fascinating, if nothing else.
I think it's fascinating, man. It might not be your bag, it might not be what you're interested in, but at the end of the day, if you're interested in UFOs, go and check it out because it's very interesting. If you're not, check out some of Daisy's other stuff because he talks about news as well. I mean, you don't need to start...
I think half the UFOs that we probably see, Kip, there's probably an earthly explanation for them, and anything that is kind of technologically advanced from what we are used to seeing, your jet planes and stuff like that, they're probably manipulating the same zero-point energy and electrogravitics that I was on about with Tesla. So they do have the Tesla technology and they are using it, just not for the public though.
Well, Dom said something in the chat room earlier on. He was like, get everybody at protests to start making alternative energy devices. And I've got an idea on protests, just have a big hamster wheel, man. Imagine 100,000 people on a hamster wheel.
Well, we could just chase all of those rats out of Parliament and put them in it and just get them to power it. Do you know what I mean? Once we're finished with them, we'll get the ones from Liberty, we'll get the ones at the Tavistock Institute, we'll just go through them all.
Nick, I wanted to bounce back to you, mate, and finish off with the Barton Moss thing, because what are you planning for the future? Is there any dates, times, events that you want people to be aware of? Things like that, mate, because I know you've been there for, what is it, 3 weeks or 4 weeks now, Nick?
I've been here for a month, yeah.
4 weeks?
Well, on and off since November. Been coming up and down up until I quit my job to become a full-time protector, activist, and an all-round good human being. Somebody just said, but I've been here for about a month now. The morale on site goes up and down as depends what how many people get beaten up by the police, and but then
But you're saying to me that whether the morale's up or down, but you've got to support the local people. You're saying that the local people
absolutely.
are coming down and helping you out. Maybe you can tell us a few of the stories that way, because I know you just said that they're helping you out, kind of thing.
Well, the local people, like I say, I'm in one of the local people's houses right now using their Skype. But the local people come up and drop off donations of food. I heard Dom say earlier on about Balcombe getting money donated. I don't know about the money donations. Because I don't really want to know about it. I live without money like Dom does now, so it's not about that for me. It's about surviving. It's about being able to stay alive while I'm resisting the corporate fascism. But yeah, many people come round, and many people come round and donate, like I said, food and blankets and quilts and tents and clothing. It's fantastic. The local support is amazing. When we go down and do arrestee support, because we believe that GMP, Greater Manchester Police, have been given a 5-a-day quota on arrests because they want to dwindle the numbers and scare the locals off from coming down and walking the wagons in slowly, rather than letting them just have free rein on what is supposedly and it's still being questioned in court at the moment whether Barton Moss Road is a private road and public footpath or a highway. I was arrested for willful obstruction of a highway. Now, if it's a private road and a public footpath, then surely I can't be done for obstruction of a highway,
Well, you just hit hot on something there, Nick. The one thing that the people down in Barton Moss and the project of the David Icke's People's Voice Challenge is the fact that they're relying on donations of goodwill, time and effort rather than money, which for me is a giant leap forward in mental thinking, in the sense that you try and rely on human beings rather than money to fund something that you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. I mean, I couldn't care less if there are, and I know that there have been people that have been involved in climate camp that have been down Barton Moss, right? And for me, it's not about that for me. I'm not about getting any money or sometimes it's nice to get some money from camp funds to go and get some transport to court. Yeah. All back from the police cells, you know.
You're just an attention whore. Admit it.
Is that it? Is that what it is?
Yeah. You need super gluing cardboard tubes to your arm and stuff.
Glasses.
That's it, man.
Yeah, attention whore. Yeah. But you see, the thing is, I'll say this to you, JP, right? As far as attention goes, if I get some attention by the mainstream media to highlight the problem that we've got going on with corporate, and I do get some, you know what I mean? It's like we've been on the beach.
Not enough, eh?
Yeah. I was live on ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, when I was super glued to my friend in the middle of the road, and it highlighted the thing that we're doing down there, you know.
No, I have the utmost respect for, you know, what you're doing. You know yourself from speaking to me before where I stand on fracking. I'm 100% against it. It's stupid. It's wrong.
Yeah.
So this is County's last comment there.
What?
Please go easy on me, guys. By the way, I'm a bit camp tired, and you know what I mean.
You need to remember, Nick's been living in a mud hut for 4 weeks now. I mean, we had to remind him.
I live in Cope Bridge. We've got one restaurant. It's a Chinese. Do you know what it's called?
Tell you, JP, if you want to grow some nuts, mate, come down to camp and I'll show you what it's like to live.
There you go, JP. Go and do some time down in Barton Moss, mate.
Yeah, I'll pay for you to come down here, mate. I'll get some money from somewhere. And I'll buy you a megabus thing, and you can come down and see what it's like to live rough, mate.
It's only £32 on the megabus to go to Amsterdam, though.
Right, okay. Well, go to Amsterdam then, mate. You know what I mean?
I do.
Live it up.
Anyway, Nick, so what is the future dates and all that you're looking forward to? Not like megabus routes to Amsterdam, but what's happening in Barton Moss, mate? What's the future dates? What's happening?
Well, we every now and again we'll do a Solidarity Sunday where people will come up from all over the country or down from all over the country and join together in a march. We take the road. Is the one this weekend coming, yeah? Is it Sunday, yeah? So next weekend there is a Solidarity Sunday, and if anybody wants to come down and see us and see how we live and get some information about what's going on down there, you can do that.
It's a good thing to put out that a lot of people don't think of, and I know I've been caught in a situation before. When you're going along to somewhere to help out people in a particular situation, and then you end up turning up and nobody remembers to bring a certain thing that everybody's needing down there. Is that if people want to bring something to help out the protesters, toilet roll, food, water, what?
Socks, yeah, just bring socks. Yeah, I'm not sure what else we're really short. We're not really short of anything because the good people of Earlham, Eccles and Cadishead provide us with pretty much everything we need, but we've never got enough socks. There aren't enough socks in the world, if you know what I mean. So yeah, if you want to bring anything, bring socks.
Socks first, stop that up.
And if anybody knows where they can source wood burners, because we're putting up benders now. Instead of living in tents, we're gonna sort of use benders with tarpaulin, and they're always good to have wood burners in to keep us warm because it's going to start getting cold soon. People probably already think it's cold, but you don't feel it as much when you live outside all the time anyway, as I'm sure that other people will tell you that have done. But yeah, wood burners. If anybody's got a wood burner, I want one personally, but we could do with a few.
Well, we've got opportunity, Nick. I don't know whether any of your any Daves in the house would want to anything they want to shout out. We're moving into the last 15 minutes of the show, man. So is there anything particularly you want to get out there, or any of your mates or whatever, Daves? Any of the Daves?
Well, to be fair, I can ask now. Like Dave, are there any Daves that you want to Dave out? No.
Well, good.
Just nice one to Dave.
Dave's good. So to all the Daves out there, you're doing a grand job for the people of Barton Moss, man. So what about you, Nick? You want to get anything you particularly want to cover at all, man? I know you've been down in Barton Moss for 4 weeks, so you're not even aware of
I have absolutely no idea what's going on outside Barton Moss really, and outside sort of the small area of Greater Manchester that we cover. So I've not even. This is the first time I've been in front of a PC for a month.
Nick, you're kidding me on. So you've not heard that Baby George has sprouted a new head?
Is that Satan's?
Yes,
Satan's offspring. Yeah.
I think it's his first horn.
Oh, do I get to slag off the royal family for a bit? Yeah.
Aye, Barton. I don't know.
God would be offended if you don't.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that Baby George has sprouted a new head, and I do hope that it causes lots of trouble and emotional problems for that despicable benefit scrounging family they call the Royals.
And they're top of the benefit street, aren't they?
Oh, don't you know it?
Yeah, she's struggling, you know. Skin.
She's on her last million.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I've heard.
That was a while ago.
People said that
have we bailed her out yet?
That
when's the Queen's bailout? Because that must be Nick. Because we're already bailed out of bankers, you know.
Yeah, well, we need to bail her out. We need to bail her out.
Legit, you know. They're the ones that print the money needs our money because they ran out of the printed money that they print. Wait, what?
She's down to her last million in savings. With just 1 million left, but they're going to raise it to 37 million over the next 2 years, so that should be fine for her.
That should be good. Should be good and dandy. Dom, I know you're still with us, mate. I don't know whether you've got you're there, and if there's anything else you want to touch on. I know, as I said, I'll be putting out information on the David Icke's People's Voice Challenge. Dom's covered on. It's progressing. It is progressing at its own natural speed because it does demand on goodwill and effort. I'm going to try and put up, I don't know, every so often when there's a new bit of information where people can go and offer help, check out what's happening or whatnot. We'll try and sort something out there, Dom. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to go over, mate.
No, I've just been enjoying playing with the trolls in the chat room that you guys have picked up. So it's been an enjoyable night. Really.
Oh no, Kip, have you got your personal troll on board? Has he appeared tonight, man?
I don't know. Kev, I can't read at the best of times, and I don't like reading the chat room because I just
just in case Dom missed that one. Myself and Kip are gatekeepers of the truth now. We're part of the Holly Gregg cover up. Don't
tell people about Holly Gregg. Don't tell people you go and look into Holly Gregg, Kev.
I know. Sorry, man. Sorry.
You're keeping that information. Shh.
Doesn't matter.
Don't tell people about the Palladians either. No, don't tell. No, actually, by the way, the Palladians is disinfo. It's a bunch of shite.
The Palladians are it's the people that believe the Palladians that don't like us, Kev. But
it kind of makes me sick, really. But carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, back to the point, if anybody wants to get hold of me, probably best place to start following the rabbit is just YouTube, commonly known as Dom. You can either drop me a message on there or find out what my Skype link and take it from there. But other than that, I've really enjoyed listening to you guys and enjoyed being part of the show.
Can I actually just say something else? See, if you want to just know, take a piece of your money and go into the bank and be like, right, I want to exchange this £20 note for £20 of sterling, and see what they do to you, and just watch what happens to you if you try and do that.
So, some woman that I was seeing when I was living at Kew Bridge went into the Bank of England with her birth certificate and tried to find out the value of it and see if she could cash it in. And they picked her up, 5'2", took her out the door, closed the doors, and arrested her for breach of the peace. But if you have a look, that one little woman closed down the Bank of England just with a piece of paper by going in there and ask, how comes Occupy didn't close down the bank even for half a day? So you imagine if people turned up at the Bank of England or the stock exchange and started asking them daft questions like that.
And another interesting thing about your birth certificate, go and check it out. In red writing, there's a bond number, and if you can go and you can get a bond quote online and find out how much your collective bond is.
if you're going to go down that route, you have to get hold of your EIN number, which is your employment identification number. It's all done through the UCC filings, and you can only get the EIN number once in your lifetime for some strange reason. But once you've got that, you can, if you know how to follow the process of, the best place to look would be Creditors in Commerce. They've got great audios on their website, creditorsincommerce.com. And you've got all these audios of how to basically take control of your bond. And I do actually know one guy in the UK, only one that I've actually seen proved that he's had some sort of success making his own promissory notes. But it was the way he done it. He weren't going into Tesco's and giving them a promissory note and walking out with shopping. He was going into a garage with an already made promissory note, filling up to his car, and then he would fill out the amount on the promissory note, and it was all in accordance to the Bills of Exchange Act and everything. And where the name that's tied to the birth certificate is on this document, and he's handing it over, and they don't know what it is at the counter. He says to them, "Look, this is a civil matter. You've got all my details. If you need to, pass it on to the police." And the police never once came back to him. But he's also got other things going on, like problems with his house and repossession, because he was a tenant, the landlord went bankrupt, so the Bank of Ireland took possession and sent bailiffs around every few months to try and kick him out. And it's been ongoing for the past couple of years. So it's one sort of success story that's lasted a couple of years, but it's taken all of his energy for this one little case. And I personally believe once this case is over and he's lost the property, he will put that energy to some really good use, because his law knowledge is surpassed anyone's I've seen online, and I don't think he realises that himself.
Dom, I've left this really late in the day, and I wanted to bring this up to you earlier, but I completely forgot. I was wanting to see, I know Santos Bonacci been jailed, I think it's $101,500 or something in fines, and I wanted to know what your take on Santos Bonacci, the arrest thing that's happened. There's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of people for and against him out there, which confused me. He seemed to be generally trying to, maybe trying the wrong technique, but he seems to be generally trying to get somewhere. I don't know.
Well, the more and more I look at this, it seems to me that this free man information and this sort of legal attack on the system, which seems good on the outside and plausible, but if you go and try any of it out, then the system are prepared for you and they ignore it all anyway. And I do believe that this is all a psyop set up by the Freemasons, because what a free man is, the only way to be a free man is to be part of the guilds of the City of London, and it's Freemasonry. It's not for the people. The Magna Carta is not for the people. It was signed by barons, this, or signed by King John under 9 point by barons. It's not a contract for us.
Absolutely need to be sovereigns is the bottom line.
Well, even that, legally speaking, a sovereign is legally defined as a body of authority, which sounds pretty good. But then you look at the word body, legally defined, and it says fiction. So it's a fiction of authority. It's just all wordplay, and the magistrates are actually magicians, and it is all how they've manipulated these words and cast the spells upon us, and they use a completely different language called legalese when we're using English. So it's not for us. The legal system was all man-made to control us.
Me and you both know about legalese in a lot of respects. If you wouldn't class, us, me, you, all of us here tonight as sovereign, what would you say the best word would be to use?
I wouldn't even want to play their game anymore. Personally, it bores me. If you're playing this game, and it is a game, and it's gambling, then you're gambling with property, and your property could be either a car, a house, or a child. Now, if you want to gamble with that, that's up to you, but have a look at everybody else that's gone before you. They've either been imprisoned, sectioned, had their cars taken off them, or their children taken off them. And there's not many success stories out there. I've won minimal court cases, but what are they going to do to me? You know what I mean? I've got nothing that they can take off me anymore.
I literally only know one person that was successful, and even at that, they put him through medical exams, as in mental a mental examination. He passed it though, because he knows how to pass it, or he had the heads up on what would get you through it. Just for anyone listening that ever wants to know, it's pick a subject and speak about it for 30 minutes without overlapping yourself. Will prove that you're sane and coherent to anyone, any doctor.
Yeah. Well, I've had doctors come in at me at the cells at police stations, and sometimes I've ignored them and said, look, I don't need to talk to you, but most of the time I'll sit them down and I'll explain how the system is.
Guys,
I know, it's a great, it's a captive audience, isn't it?
JP, Nick just wants a quick word just before we leave everything. Nick?
Yo, guys, just a quick one to say, like, obviously I came on to talk about the protection camp and all that lot, like, and there are going to be many people that tell you that this isn't going on, that isn't going on, or whatever, but you just got to remember this one thing, right? There are contracts for massive things going on. People are being given, companies like iGas and Quadrilla are being given contracts to make a lot of money out of drilling for shale gas or for coal seam gas or for
sorry,
all these things.
We're really out of time. I think we're just
just make sure that you keep resisting, right, and make sure that you fight against tyranny.
And for another week, GUNN. Catch you.